Just like you are free to criticize the government and to criticize anything under the sun, you too must allow people to criticize you. Affirm you where you do well, encourage you when you perform well, and point out where you are failing. When you are not objective, we'll tell you are not objective. And it's our right. We don't have to be right, by the way. It's our view. If I find a certain media station is not objective, I'll say so in broad daylight. If you find the deputy president is out of order, you also say so. But let us not have rules for one group and not for another. You also must allow us, as leaders of this country, as Kenyans also, to hold you to account as you enjoy the media freedom that is enshrined in the Constitution.
Your Excellency, Article 131 of the Constitution, Section 2, subsection E, says, "The President shall ensure the protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms and rule of law." Now, Article 34 of the Constitution is explicit on freedom of the media, which means it is guaranteed under the rights and fundamental freedoms. That is non-negotiable. Now, when you talk of that assurance, when you took oath of office on 13th of September,
yes,
protecting and upholding the Constitution is key among them.
Yes.
You are under the presidency. You are tasked to protect the freedom of the media because it's under the non-negotiable rights, rights and fundamentals.
Yes.
You were in Murang'a recently, and you spoke clearly that the media attempted to cross your path. You hammered them 9-0 in your own words, and said, "Hata hapa mbele tumewangoja mtaona." Less than 48 hours, Senate Majority Leader and Kericho Senator Aaron Cheriot took to his social media and singled out two sectors, the media and the banks, and he said a way has to be found to crush them. What does that speak when it comes to freedom of the media? What is the agenda of this administration as far as the media freedom is concerned?
Absolutely. I repeat what I said in Murang'a. We hammered the media 9-0 because media was part of Azimio. And we hammered Azimio and all its affiliates, including the media. That's what I meant. And in another election, if the media is in bed with our opponents, we'll crush them, politically speaking. You remember, the media sponsored headlines against President William Ruto. The media ran fake opinion polls, which were discounted on the ballot. The media had false narratives against the candidature of William Ruto and I. As late of last week, the Standard media, against all known journalistic ethics, ran a headline that Gachagwa and his wife had asked for 1.5 billion. All the other newspapers reported correctly. They went ahead to say that Gachagwa had demanded for 1.5 billion, which was untrue. Gachagwa does not demand for any money. The office of the deputy president is a public office that is supposed to be funded from the public. Gachagwa, the deputy president, has a spouse, not a wife. It was a very biased piece of journalism. They went ahead to say that Gachagwa demanded. The former minister had said they had requested on behalf of the deputy president and his office. There is nowhere he talked of a demand. But the Standard newspaper, that has been very biased against our administration, went ahead to write lies to the people of Kenya. And we are saying, much as we respect the freedom of the press, when you go haywire, when you degenerate into gutter press and yellow journalism, we'll call you out. Just as we respect your right to call us out. So it's a mutual relationship. And the media cannot arrogate itself the moral high ground that it can criticize others, but cannot be criticized where they go wrong. You, the media, carried fake opinion polls. The people of Kenya on the 9th of August put you to shame. And we kept on saying these are sponsored polls. And we called you out. We saw owners of media stations on top of a lorry, a media owner campaigning for Azimio. That is not objectivity. We had to call them out. So if you want respect, it's mutual. Be objective, observe the code of ethics, and don't be biased. Be objective. So what Senator Aaron Cheriot said is that among the people we are looking at is the media, because the way they are behaving is not right. I have seen new people, the media. When we had the previous administration and prices of food were high, you never wrote a story. Today, even when those prices have gone down, it's a headline every day. You are not objective, and that is the truth.
No,
and we shall continue. We shall continue every day. I would have been concerned if any journalist had been harmed by anybody. If you had come to this home and you are locked out, you have not been locked out. You cover the president, you cover myself, you cover all our ministers, and nobody has stopped you. But you cannot gag us from giving an opinion of what we think is your performance. That is our right as Kenyans. Much as the media freedom is enshrined in the Constitution, our freedom of speech equally is guaranteed by the very Constitution.
There was a journalist who was attacked in Murang'a at the your spouse's event. You've said you've not heard. There's a journalist under Nation Media Group who was attacked in Murang'a.
That journalist who had a scuffle with the security personnel attacked to the spouse of the deputy president has had 4 other scuffles with the security personnel along the way. That journalist comes to meetings drunk all the time. And what will happen is the security people have to do their work. If you come, you are drunk and disorderly in a meeting. Even if you are a journalist, you are not above the law. And that is not the first situation. That was the 4th. He had 3 other incidences with former deputy president, now President William Ruto. And it is his habit. Every time there is a meeting in Murang'a, he turns up drunk, becomes unruly, and the security personnel, just as the media have a job to do, they also have a job to do to protect the person they have been assigned to protect.
Thank you. Na Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, tukisalia tu kwenye hilo swala kuhusiana na uhuru wa vyombo vya habari, unahisi ya kwamba maneno ambayo yanatumika na wale viongozi ambao wanasema ya kwamba wanahabari pengine wana kasoro fulani ni maneno ambayo yanafaa? Kwa mfano, unapotumia maneno kama cartels ama hiyo kucrash, unaona ya kwamba pengine mnastahili kutumia njia gani angalau kupeleka malalamishi kwa wale ambao wanastahili?
We'll continue talking about cartels. We know some of the cartels even own media stations. That we know. So it is absolutely correct when the media stations try to protect the cartels, because 2 media stations are owned by the very cartels we are fighting. And we are going to fight these cartels because we have a responsibility as leaders of this country to make sure that we protect the farmers from exploitation. We make sure we protect consumers from exploitation by cartels who had been perpetuated by state capture and conflict of interest. So we know that 2 media stations are owned by the very cartels we have a problem with.
Okay, but Deputy President, Excellency Gachagwa, you are in a position of power as the 2nd senior most employee, and that mandate you enjoy from the people. Have you lodged complaint as per the laid down procedures, for example, institutions within the media framework? I mean, there is vagueness about people you want to name. You are saying issues of cartels, but have you followed the right procedures and channels as laid down in law?
I am a leader in this country. One of my duties is to comment publicly about the issues that I think I need to comment on. I have no faith in that mechanism, because that mechanism that regulates the conduct of the media watched as the media went wrong, as the media became biased against William Ruto and I, and they never raised a finger. So asking us to go and complain to the Media Council is a waste of time, because when the media went against us, bare knuckles, headline after headline, calling us thieves without evidence, calling us all sorts of names without evidence. We did not complain because it would have been a useless venture to complain. All we do ourselves are answerable to the people of Kenya, and our bosses are the people of Kenya. So what happens when we find something that we don't think is right? We tell the people of Kenya and we leave it at that. Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is the rule of law. So are you saying you will disregard the rule of law? Because the rule of law says if there are issues, you follow the channel and raise with the media.
Once we raise the issues to the public, we consider the matter as good as prosecuted. In fact, we have done well. That is why we are raising the issues, which means our concerns have started being addressed. You decide what to do. You may have a matter with somebody, and you may decide just to talk to that person and not pursue him in court. In matters media bias, we will raise it with the people of Kenya. When we find you have gone out of the way, we will raise it with the people of Kenya. And I want to call out the Standard newspaper. They owe the office of the Deputy President an apology. And I would like to explain. Regarding Gachagwa, as Deputy President, has not requested for any money to his office. What you must know, and I want to take some bit of time to explain to you, is that Ukuru Yatani, the former CS National Treasury, in conjunction with Kenodia Bogwa, the then Controller of State House, who was the accounting officer for both the office, for both State House and the office of the Deputy President, under the direction of President Uhuru Kenyatta, cut all funds to the office of the Deputy President. For 4 years, President William Ruto, then Deputy President, fueled GK cars from his own pocket. For 4 years, he bought tea for his office. For 4 years, he paid electricity bills for his office. For 4 years, he paid allowances to staff accompanying him across the country. And when he became the president-elect, these two officers who were attending meetings in his office were embarrassed. And they sought to undo the damage of what they had done to save their face. Previously, the previous year, the budget of the office of the Deputy President was 4 billion shillings. They went ahead and cut 1.5 billion shillings. That is what they were trying to reinstate. And the Deputy President, regarding Gachagwa, had nothing to do with it. That is their work. So when the Standard newspaper was trying to assist the attorney to divert attention from the real issues, the real issue was that in the dying hours of the Uhuru administration, President Uhuru Kenyatta pushed the controller of budget through Yatani, and it's documented through WhatsApp messages, to pay 15 billion shillings in 26 minutes. Money that we shall give you details of how it was stolen. And the Standard newspaper was trying to divert attention by letting the people digress from the theft of 15 billion shillings in 26 minutes in the dying hours of the Uhuru administration by trying to say that the Deputy President had requested 1.5 billion shillings. Even if he had requested, he had not stolen the money. A request is just a request. But in this matter, no request was made from my office. It is the Controller of State House who made a request, and they were trying to undo the damage they had done to President William Ruto to save their face. So I would like to say, when such issues happen, we shall call you out, because we expect the media also to be responsible. And we expect the elections are over. Azimio lost. We know you went to bed with them. Can you stop living in denial and get back to work and work professionally and objectively and report to the people of Kenya the happenings as they unfold?
Your Excellency, Section 27 of the Media Council Act, I want to go back there. Section 27 of the Media Council Act establishes a Media Complaints Commission. One of the main mandates of that commission is to handle complaints from the public. You've clearly stated that you are not going to seek redress through, such mechanisms. Does that mean that now we have two sets of rules, one for the common Mwananchi and then others for the Deputy President?
Absolutely no. You have a choice whether to complain or not. Even in normal times, there is somebody who can abuse you, and you decide to live with it. You don't have to report because there is a law against abuses. It's your choice. In our cases, we are leaders. Once we have let the people of Kenya know that the Standard is biased, we leave it there. It is the people to judge. And the fact that you guys now are feeling it is very good for us. It's very good for our democracy, because we are having this discussion. You expect to be biased, to be subjective, but you don't want to be questioned by anybody. Yet, every day you hold us to account. You hold everybody to account. You don't have that preserve. That is only you who can hold others to account. The media too must be held to account. And we'll call you out when you become biased, when you are not objective. We have a right as leaders, as a country, as a people, equally to call you out.
Okay. Excellency, before we move to the next itemized agenda, which is on governance, one final question on this. We are a democracy, and you have stated that. You have the right to be offended and the right not to be offended in democracy, because we are a secular society. And the media professionals have largely adhered to the code of principle and ethics, which is objectivity and the right to fair coverage for all the parties. You have talked about crushing in terms of political. You have said you will not complain as per the laid out procedure, and that you will complain to the people. The people voted for the constitution, which provides for that avenue. We are still hanging, there is something loose about it. Are you assuring the Kenyan people that the freedom of media in Kenya is here to stay for this administration?
The freedom of media is here to stay, but you are saying that you have done objective and fair coverage. That is a lie. During the last election, in Citizen News, they would give Raila Odinga 20 minutes and give President William Ruto 3 minutes. We complained, we stopped complaining because it was being done about it. Raila Odinga was being given free live coverage. 5 days before the election, on Saturday, I think the 6th, I approached Inoro station. I said I want to buy live coverage. They charged me 4.6 million. I said I'll pay. On the last day, they said, no, we can't give you live coverage. Keep your money.
Thank you.
And I was paying for the space. Because Uhuru Kenyatta knew that if I had 2 hours on Inoro TV, 5 days before the election, I would talk to the Kikuyu nation.
Thank you.
The media has not been fair. It has not been balanced. Probably now that we are having this conversation, it is about time that the media consider that these airwaves that you enjoy belong to the public.
Thank you.
You have a responsibility to provide fair and objective coverage to all political players within the Kenyan political space.
Thank you, Excellency. We now move to the next item, which is on governance and institutions underneath the Constitution, and Jesse Rogers will be taking us through that.
Okay, Your Excellency, perhaps just to begin on matters governance, I'd like to touch on your declaration that government appointments are sort of a preserve of those who voted in favor of the Kenya Kwanza government. Just perhaps to put the words into context, quote unquote, this is what you mentioned: the government is a company that has shares, their owners who have majority shares and those with just a few, while others do not have any. You invested in this government, you must reap. That's what you're quoted as saying. And as a matter of fact, we believe today you agitated for the same message at Tharaka Nithi County while you were with the president. And that begs the question, this is a symbol of national unity, the presidency. And in fact, is it your sincere thought that this is how governments should work?
Thank you very much for asking that question. It's a very pertinent question. What I said in Kericho, and I believe in it, is that a government is like a company. I didn't say a government is a company. I said it's like a company. In every company, there are shares. Preferential shares, ordinary shares. When there is an AGM, non-shareholders do not attend the AGM. When there are dividends to be divided, they are divided according to the number of shares. That is the truth. What I said is that as a government, in terms of development, in terms of public resources, all Kenyans must be treated equally. And the president does not dish out development. Appropriation of funds for development is done by the National Assembly, and all parties are represented through the budget cycle. And therefore, the issue of discrimination, in far as resources are concerned, is non-existent. All Kenyans are taxpayers, and the government of President William Ruto and I will serve all Kenyans equally in matters development. In fact, last month, the president and I, an entire government, were in Luo Nyanza where we were not voted in what I would call an acceptable manner. We got very few votes, and we are thankful for those few votes. We were in Siaya, unveiling development projects. We were in Homa Bay. We were doing 2,000 affordable housing. We were doing a PIA at Homa Bay. We were in Kisumu. Because even if those people did not vote for us, they are Kenyans and they pay taxes. But when it comes to forming government, no president anywhere in the world would invite people to his government who do not believe in him, who do not believe in his agenda, who cannot support him because they don't understand his agenda. And that is where the issue of shares came. That it is by the number of shares that you have with that administration that demonstrates your commensurate commitment to the success of that government. And I gave an example. I said if you are a farmer and you are planting, you plant, you wind, you apply fertilizer, you irrigate. When the time comes to harvest, you go to the shamba and harvest. But a fellow who was standing by the fence, shouting at you and saying, you farmer, you are foolish. That maize you are planting will get nowhere. That seed is rotten. This farming cannot succeed in this area. Farming is not a good thing as we are livestock herders. How then can you invite that person to come and assist you to harvest? He doesn't believe in you. What I said in parables, and I like using figurative language because I'm a student of literature, and it's one of the most effective ways of communicating to the people, especially the people down there at the bottom of the pyramid. And that's my gift. I talk to the people directly. What I was saying, the people who are opposed to President William Ruto, saying that he is a thief, he is incapable of running this country, he has no agenda, the bottom-up economic transformative agenda is useless. There is no way we can allow him to invite those people to his cabinet, to be his principal secretaries, to be ambassadors. They do not believe in him. They do not believe in his agenda. How then can they come and demand to be included in that government? That's what I was saying.
Okay.
When I go to State House, and I said, I fight them there. Every day. That's what I said. I fight them there. People who are shouting at President William Ruto, saying he is useless, he is a thief, he will ruin this country. And they are there lining up that they want to be given positions. I say no. Let us first give positions to those who believe in President William Ruto, to those who believe in the bottom-up economic transformative agenda. Those are the people who will help him. And let me tell you, before you tell me, that is a mistake President Uhuru Kenyatta made. He went and brought people through the handshake who did not believe in the Big Four agenda, who had been opposed to his economic programs. He brought them into his government. What happened? Everything came to a standstill. The economy got destroyed. By the time he left, the country was finished. We cannot make that mistake. And that is what I meant. But in matters development, in matters public resources, every Kenyan will benefit from this government.
Your Excellency, with all due respect, Article 38 of the Constitution talks about political rights in the sense that every citizen is free to make political choices. That is a fundamental right and freedom.
Absolutely.
So what are you saying by saying the former president made a mistake to bring other people who never supported him into government? And what are you saying? Because if it's a right for every Kenyan to make a choice,
it's a right,
and then tied to Article 130,